Hi, I'm Trisha Gray, founder of Sing Like a Star Studios, where you will learn to sing stronger, sing higher, and sing like a star. I hope you enjoy the following instructional video and the course.
You can sing like a star. You can sing like a star. You can sing like...
Step 4, Isolators. Further development of lower and upper registers. In Step 4, you will learn all about strengthening the lower and upper registers separately before we begin to mix in Step 5. You will learn about the resonation system in the How Your Voice Works chapter. You will learn about how scales affect the singing voice and how we use them to develop vocal technique in the Tools for Training Voices chapter. You will learn how to apply the scales tools and how to perform the Step 4 vocal exercises correctly in the Learning the Step chapter. You will see how much information you've retained from reading the chapters in the Test Your Knowledge chapter. You'll be doing exercises that further develop the lower and upper registers in the Exercises chapter. Step 4, Isolators. Further development of the lower register, TA dominant, and the upper register, CT dominant phonation separately. In Step 4, our objective is the further development of lower register and upper registers separately before we begin to mix and blend the registers in Step 5. Step 4 exercises are called isolators. The low notes and the high notes should be equally clear and strong. In Step 4, you will be doing exercises like this to further develop your lower and upper registers.
Go, go, geek, geek, go.
How Your Voice Works. How Your Voice Works. The resonation system. To review, anatomy is the study of the body, and physiology is the study of how the systems in the body function. An understanding of how the cooperative components of your amazing vocal system work together will provide you with a solid, fact-based foundation on which to build good vocal technique. Some singers are sensation-based. They're mostly concerned with what feels right. However, others may be interested in knowing some of the science behind this marvelously designed system. An understanding of how the voice works will make the vocal training process more meaningful and useful for both teachers and singers. In previous units, we have learned that the singing voice functions as a system, and that systems are comprised of components that must work cooperatively. The system of the voice consists of three components: the respiration, air or energy source, phonation, the vibrator or oscillator, and resonation, a filtering and selective reinforcement system. Respiration for singing is produced by the lungs, trachea, diaphragm, and other muscles of respiration. Air traveling upward from the lungs meets the vocal folds. Air pressure causes the vocal folds to vibrate as air is moved out of the lungs by the coordinated action of the diaphragm, rib cage, and respiratory muscles. Phonation occurs in the larynx, which houses the vocal folds. As the vocal folds rapidly open and close, they convert air, or aerodynamic energy, to acoustic energy. In Step 4, we learn about resonation, the third component of our system. Articulation is the shaping of the vocal tract by various positions of the lips, lower jaw, tongue, velum or soft palate, pharyngeal walls, and larynx. The lips, teeth, tongue, soft palate, and hard palate are referred to as articulators because they modify the sound, creating vowels and consonants. The voice can be thought of as a source-filter system. The source is the lungs that provide breath pressure to the vibrating vocal folds, and the filter is the pharynx and mouth of the vocal tract, where some frequencies or partials are boosted and others are damped or attenuated, a process known as resonance. In speaking, the system is linear. However, in singing, the components of the system affect one another, creating energy boosting. Where resonance happens. Resonance happens in the vocal tract, the cavities of the pharynx and the mouth. This is where the buzz-like basic voiced sound is transformed through the magic of formants and harmonics interacting with each other. The vocal tract includes the pharynx, where the larynx resides, the mouth, and to a smaller extent, the nasal cavities or nasopharynx. This is where partials are filtered and selectively boosted or attenuated, that is, damped. Perceptions of resonance. The terms resonance and register are sometimes confused. Registration refers primarily to vocal fold activity, that is, short, thick folds, which is the heavy mechanism, the lower register chest voice, also called mode 1, versus the long, thin folds, that is, the light mechanism, upper register head voice, or mode 2. Resonance refers to the filtering of the basic voiced sound, where certain partials are boosted and others are attenuated. However, registration and resonance affect one another. Sensations experienced during singing have over time generated terminology that is misleading because it's based on subjective experience rather than science. Singers typically feel vibrations in the chest cavity while singing low notes, and consequently refer to their lower pitches as their chest voice or chest register. However, the voice is not resonating in the chest cavity. What they are feeling is known as sympathetic resonance, as the larger cavities of the chest vibrate in response to lower pitches. True resonance, that is the filtering and boosting or attenuating of partials, occurs above the vocal folds, in the pharynx, that is the throat, and mouth. The upper register modes of the contemporary singer. The trained contemporary singer can produce 4 different qualities or modes in the upper register, based on factors such as onset, vocal fold adduction, TA activity or closed quotient, and harmonics that create various timbres or tone colors. These modes are, from the weakest to the strongest, falsetto, head, fluty mix, and brassy mix. Falsetto is weak and breathy, with inefficient vocal fold adduction and closed quotient. Only the epithelium of the vocal fold is in vibration. There is a permanent orifice between the vocal folds through which air escapes. The sound is anemic, soft, and breathy, and cannot connect to the lower register without an abrupt change in vocal quality. Then there's the head mode. This is the whoop timbre of the classically trained soprano. It's the first sound we use in step 3. Activating and developing the upper register, the woo-wee.
Woo-wee!
A rounded mouth shape, easy onset, large pharyngeal space, high tongue, lifted soft palate, and back rounded vowels like ooh encourage this sound. The next mode is called fluty mix. The fluty mix requires moderate vocal fold adduction and has less intensity, edge, and brilliance than the brassy mix. A rounded mouth shape, large pharyngeal space, high tongue, lifted soft palate, closed and back vowels encourage this sound. Finally, there's the brassy mix. The brassy mix requires some degree of TA muscles bracing against the CT muscles, higher closed quotient, a firm glottal onset, increased subglottal air pressure, front open vowels, and a flatter tongue. The brassy mix is capable of imitating the timbre and power of the lower register quite convincingly. The brassy mix is powerful, edgy, and ringing. It has a natural quality resembling speech, blending seamlessly from the lower register to the upper register. This is the sound of contemporary pop, R&B, and country singers, along with musical theater singers who want to sound like they are belting. Registration, or the experience of contrasting lower and upper registers, is a result of intrinsic muscle activity combined with resonance. The intrinsic muscles, which are the TA, thyroarytenoid, CT, cricothyroid, LCA, and IA, interarytenoid muscles, these intrinsic muscles are attached to the larynx and are responsible for vocal fold contraction, lengthening, adduction, that is closing, and abduction, opening. There are two muscle groups responsible for the differing experience of lower register and upper register in singing. The paired thyroarytenoid or TA muscles are attached behind the ridge of the thyroid cartilage in front and attached to the arytenoid cartilages in back, thus the name thyroarytenoid. These muscles contract, making the vocal folds shorter, thicker, and less tense. Those CT and TA work together. The TA muscles are dominant on low notes. This is known as the lower register or chest register. Mode 1. The paired cricothyroid or CT muscles are attached to the thyroid cartilage on top and the cricoid cartilage on the bottom of the larynx, thus the name cricothyroid. These muscles contract, bringing the thyroid cartilage downward, stretching and elongating the vocal folds, and making them more taut. These muscles are more dominant on high notes, which is known as the head voice or upper register, mode 2. Two other paired muscles that create vocal fold adduction are the LCA, or lateral cricoarytenoid muscles, and the IA, or interarytenoid muscles, that draw the folds together to create medial compression. The LCA muscles adduct the folds for about 3/4 of their length, beginning at the front of the larynx, and the IA muscles close the remaining 1/4 at the back end. When you whisper, the IA muscles do not close the back section of the vocal folds. The vocal folds on high versus low pitch. On the left, you see an image of a singer singing a high pitch. The vocal folds are longer and thinner than the image on the right, a low pitch. When singing a high note, the singer's vocal folds elongate due to the tilting action of the thyroid cartilage as a result of CT, cricothyroid, muscle contraction. When we sing lower pitches, the vocal folds shorten due to the contraction of the intrinsic TA or thyroarytenoid muscle. When singers strain for high notes, they're trying to hit the high note with the shorter, thicker, TA-dominant vocal fold position, which is image B, instead of allowing the folds to lengthen and thin, as in image A. Here are two images in the manual that go into depth about the function of the laryngeal muscles. Tools for training voices. Tools for training voices. Scales. Scales, used in conjunction with vowels and consonants, have specific properties that will provide definitive results. Rather than singing random scales as a warm-up, a thoughtfully designed plan of scales combined with specific vowels and consonants will address and remedy vocal challenges. When combining the scale, vowel, and consonant tools, the objective is either to create more hold, that is, better vocal fold adduction, or more release, that is, less strain, in vocal production. In general, the result generated from a particular scale depends on 1. How expansive it is. Larger intervals and long scales encourage release, or a more effective handoff from the TA muscle dominance to CT muscle dominance, encouraging register blending. Shorter 5-tone scales encourage hold, or more TA muscle activation. It's much harder to sing a stepwise ascending 5-tone scale through the first bridge than it is to sing a wider interval. The result can also depend on the starting pitch. If the objective is register balancing, you need to start the scale in a key that begins in the lower register and then travels above the first bridge. Scales that remain only in the lower register will reinforce TA dominant, modal, lower register, thick folds, phonation. And then there's what direction the scale travels. A scale that starts low and travels upward anchors the sound in the lower register. Starting above the first bridge and traveling downward encourages release and blends a lighter coordination, i.e. less TA activity, downward. Then there's how fast the scale is sung. The faster a scale is sung, the more release a singer will experience. The slower you sing a scale, the more hold you will experience. Then there are the sounds that are used. The vowels, consonants, syllables, or temporary sounds combined with the scale will create either more release or more hold. Here are just a few of the scales that we use at Sing Like a Star. Learning the step. Learning the step. The objectives of Step 4. Further development of TA dominant lower register phonation and CT dominant upper register phonation separately, increasing the student's ability to access the lower and upper registers at will. Category-based objectives. 1. All vocal categories need better vocal fold adduction in the upper register. 2. All vocal categories should sing with a slightly imposed larynx, especially on the round 1 exercises. 3. Undeveloped and unbalanced light lower category singers will tend to decrease vocal fold adduction when singing from high to low. In other words, they try to bring the upper register down too low. Make sure to be fully in the lower register on the low pitches. Don't bring the head voice all the way down. Objectives by round. Round 1, beginning. Students will improve vocal fold adduction in the upper register with voiced stop consonants and imposed larynx sounds, and will improve register balance by singing with equal strength in the lower and upper registers. Round 2, intermediate. Students will improve vocal fold adduction and register balance with slide exercises. And then round 3, the advanced round. Students will improve vocal fold adduction and register balance with pulse exercises. Singing tips. Isolators. The isolators in Step 4 are a necessary precursor to register connection and blending. They create a greater degree of development and coordination in the muscles of the lower and upper registers in isolation before attempting to connect and mix the registers. These exercises ensure that adequate development of TA dominant and CT dominant phonation occurs separately, creating a better foundation for the connecting and mixing exercises that follow. Make sure you're fully in your lower register on the low notes and not bringing the head voice down too far. Then make sure you've released into your upper register for pitches above the primo passaggio. The sound should be clear, strong, and projected in both registers rather than breathy or weak. Be sure to place the palm of the hand on the chin with the thumb and finger on the corners of the mouth at all times to prevent spreading. There's no need to grimace to say the vowel E. Remember to expand the midsection, front, sides, and back during inhalation, and to maintain outward firmness against the breathing belt as you sing. This is the 360-degree singer's breath. Make sure the larynx is low and relaxed on both low and high pitches. The sound should be clear and strong on both low and high pitches. The constriction or middle hump of the tongue should be high against the top molars for the E sounds. If the sound is muffled or the E is not correct, do the ah-E tongue independence exercise in the mirror, increasing speed gradually. This exercise is demonstrated in Step 3.
When we sing high pitches, it's imperative to drop the jaw. However, sometimes the vowel becomes muddied. The problem is usually a lack of independence between the tongue and the jaw. To create better independence, we have the tongue independence exercise. Watch yourself in the mirror, thumb and finger on the corners of your mouth, palm on the chin, and jaw dropped. Make sure the tongue comes all the way up for the E vowel and that the sound is clear. Start slowly and then gradually increase your speed, like this. Ah, E, ah, E, ah, E, ah, E, ah, E, ah, E, ah, 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 ah. Make sure the jaw and the lips do not move as you perform this exercise.
The tip of the tongue rests behind the lower front teeth for sustained notes. Don't let the tongue tighten and pull back down the throat on sustained pitches. Watch in the mirror to see that there's no space between the tip of the tongue and the lower front teeth, and that the constriction or hump of the tongue is sufficiently high. Many singers find it difficult to reestablish vocal fold adduction in the lower register when singing from high to low. Make sure a firm glottal closure is reestablished in the lower register after high pitches are sung. and you'll know that's happening if the sound is projected, clear, and strong. Your assignment. Watch all instructional videos in Step 4. Read these chapters in the instructions section. How your voice works, the resonation system. Tools for training voices, scales. Learning the step. Step 4, isolators. Further development of lower and upper registers. And then take the quiz. Test your knowledge. Step 4. Sing the exercises along with the recorded tracks. Perform the exercises daily for 30 to 60 minutes. The skills you will be developing in this section are further development of lower and upper registers in preparation for mixing in Step 5. Registration balance. Start with round 1, the beginning round. Once you've achieved the objectives discussed in the Learning the Step chapter, move to round 2, the intermediate round. Finally, when you're ready for more advanced work, move to Step 3. Always do the exercises in order. Don't skip around. You will know you have achieved the objectives of the exercise if you're singing with a clear, strong, energized, and free vocal sound. Record yourself and analyze what you hear, and log in your practice journal, your practice days, exercises practiced, and what you got better at, and what you need to work on. Then take the test. Test your knowledge, Step 4, about the exercises. Each exercise is demonstrated twice by a professional singer. Always listen to both demonstrations carefully, even after you know the exercise. We learn best by imitation. After you hear the exercise once, then you try it. Then it's demonstrated again. Then you sing it again. Then you sing the exercise in several keys with the music. Always watch yourself in the mirror. Always wear your SLAS breathing belt. Sing with energy. We should be able to hear you across the street. Listen to the introduction track in each step before you start working on the exercises. Always wear your Sing Like a Star breathing belt. You can purchase this at www.singlikeastar.com/store. Pay attention to your hand and mouth position. The palm is on the chin. Thumb and finger are on either side of the mouth to prevent spreading. The jaw is down. The mouth is neutral. Your alternate hand should be on your waist with the thumb to the back to monitor breath management and appoggio. If you have questions or need further support, email our support staff at support@singlikeastar.com. Thanks for watching the video. If you'd like to purchase further courses, such as our songwriting course or Succeeding in the Music Business, please visit the website at www.slascourses.com. If you'd like to register for private lessons at Sing Like a Star, please visit www.singlikeastar.com. We'll see you soon at Sing Like a Star Studios.
You can sing like a star.